What's up, Pirate Nation? I'm your host, David Heim, and welcome to a brand new edition of Hall Talk. We have a very special show for you tonight. There's some controversy yet again with the men's basketball team. Just 6 weeks after sophomore Jaron Cena decided to transfer, senior and leader of the team, Sterling Gibbs, has decided to transfer as well. We'll have that covered, as well as the state of the men's baseball team, as well as the golf programs. This is Hall Talk.
This team needs to show me something for me to believe that they're going to make a run in the tournament.
I think they can have a chance of going over 35 wins without a problem.
Just stepping up from the 4 points to the 17. She's just dropping threes like there's no tomorrow.
But chemistry is an underrated key in college basketball.
That was by far the best game I've seen them play.
This is Hall Talk, and that's how the chalk talks.
Welcome back, and I'd like to now introduce my panel for this evening, Johnny Conetta and Cory Pontarollo. Guys, thanks for joining me this evening.
Always a pleasure, Dave.
Always.
So let's start things off tonight. Seems like controversy just has not been able to escape the men's basketball team of late. 6 weeks ago, Jaron Cena leaves the team. Shock. 6 weeks later, on Tuesday, leader of the team, senior Sterling Gibbs, announced he is transferring as well. John, I'll start with you. What does that mean for this team that they're starting to rise, starting to rebuild the program, and now you have two seniors if you count Shea Raju, but Sterling Gibbs, the only true senior on this team. What does that mean to lose a guy like that?
I mean, it's obviously a devastating blow. Talk about a roller coaster of a season. We were up so high. At one point, number 19 in the country, and then we lose a couple games in a row, and then Jaron Cena transfers, mid-season, and now Gibbs, who's the face of the program, our main scorer. He was our guy, and he transfers. It's just I can't believe it. I don't know what could be going on within the locker room. Whatever the issue is, there has to be something going on. He's your main guy, and to see him transfer going into his senior year, I interviewed him on senior night talking to him about he's going to be the next guy in line. He's going to be the leader of the team next year, and he said he was excited,
right.
Et cetera. And to see him transfer, I talk about coming out of left field. I mean, I thought came out of nowhere. I mean, I thought the Jaron Cena transfer was shocking enough. I think this might take the cake. That was a big shock.
I mean, there's some things, obviously, the upperclassmen, they saw him all 4 years. He's an idol to them. He did so much for the team. He's bailed this team out of situations, late in games. But, I mean, from an up-and-coming standpoint, I don't think this is the worst thing that could happen. I mean, obviously there were chemistry issues when Whitehead returned. Look what happened, the roller coaster. We went down.
Yeah, it went straight down.
But now you have Miles Carter coming in, Braden Anderson from Fresno State, Michael Nezzi, who didn't play, who apparently is, from managers and other people I've seen in practice, he can play some ball. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think that I saw a tweet from Isaiah Whitehead saying that him and Kadeen are ready to handle this backcourt, and I think this Gibbs leaving isn't the worst thing that could happen. I think the chemistry is going to be there, and I think we're going to get started where we not left off this season, but in the beginning of the season.
But Cory, over 30 minutes a game, over 15 points a game, how are you going to replace that production?
It's going to be hard, especially the fact that, I mean, you're right, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you always, especially in college basketball, you always want to have that veteran presence on the floor, and that's what Gibbs would bring.
Yes.
And it's going to be really interesting. It's now Isaiah Whitehead's team. I mean, you got him, Keneen Carrington, and Angel Delgado. It's those three guys. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to step up and how Isaiah, it's going to be his team now, and how he's really going to have to take the charge with this program and see where it takes him. But I think it's a huge blow, personally.
I think Whitehead's going to have to fill Gibbs' shoes. It's not going to be easy, but he's an NBA caliber player. Out of high school, that's what people were saying he was supposed to be doing. Yes, he got injured, but I didn't really see much of that come late in the season when he did return. I mean, it was his freshman year. He had to get the butterflies out of his stomach, but it's his team now. He is an NBA caliber player. He has to show that if he wants to make it big. And when it comes down to that, college basketball is not about I, it's about we.
Yeah.
You have to play as a team. The Seton Hall Pirates, we've seen them play as a team, but then it's Whitehead wants the ball, Gibbs wants the ball late.
Yeah.
That's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, that certainly did not coincide last year in South Orange. But it's interesting you note it's officially Isaiah Whitehead's team. For his entire life, his entire basketball career, he was the guy.
Yep, always been the guy.
And even at Lincoln, he was the guy. He comes in his rookie season, he's not the guy. Sterling Gibbs is the guy. So maybe that led to a lot of clashing as well. But it should be interesting to see. Like you said, it's officially Isaiah Whitehead's team. He's a sophomore now. He's got 1 year under his belt. A lot of those guys do, like Kadeen and Angel and Desi. It's going to be interesting to see if they all grow up together.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how Seton Hall replaces the production of Sterling Gibbs as a unit with that freshman class.
One thing that kind of bugged me is that both Jared Cena and Sterling Gibbs, they're both Jersey guys. They're both from, this is, their hometown school. And to see them transfer, Seton Hall is we're the main, basketball program in the state. And to see two guys from Jersey transfer out, that kind of, it doesn't sit well with me personally.
Well, what's interesting is they both used the word situation in their closing statements. When Cena left, he said it wasn't the best situation for me right now. When Sterling, his dad announced on Tuesday, Temple Gibbs, just not the right situation for us, for his state of mind. Situation. How bad is the situation, guys, in that locker room that you have two starting players, cornerstones of the team, in 6 weeks, in a matter of just a month and a half, to just get up and leave?
We don't know what happened in that locker room. I don't think anyone has that answer. And what it was, whatever the situation it may be, it had to have been bad.
Yeah.
And something must have happened. There must have been. I mean, it's tough where you have all our freshmen that came in. We're from the Brooklyn area. They were very close to one another. They developed like a posse within themselves. And then you have a player like Gibbs and Cena and players who maybe felt like outsiders. They didn't feel, like I said, it's we. And that's not, when you have two different posses in the locker room, I don't think that's going to get it done. Like I said, who knows? No one's really know what happened, what situation did occur, but I mean, it must have been pretty serious for them to both pack their bags.
My best guess is that maybe it was a clique locker room issue. Obviously, none of us really know what's going on with the program. Only the people who are within the program have a much better idea than we do. But obviously, seeing your best guy leave, you don't really see that a lot in college basketball. And seeing that here, I mean, Cena was a starter this year, and Sterling Gibbs was your main guy. To see them both leave, it's obviously wasn't a good situation.
Well, we will certainly see how it plays out next season. They got summer workouts coming up. We got to start new, different chapter in Seton Hall basketball. Let's hit the diamond now, guys. Baseball. What's going on? Just not really panning out the way Coach Shepard probably envisioned this season. They took just one of three from their rival Rutgers. What did you see this weekend against the Scarlet Knights?
Obviously, off to a disappointing start so far. I was not expecting this at all, especially losing 2 out of 3 to Rutgers. I mean, that's a series you really got to go in there, get some momentum, and then go into the series this weekend against a first-place Creighton team. You definitely, the bats are, sleeping. The pitching's there, but the bats really got to pick it up. Sal Enzunenza Oldie hitting 245 on the season. He should be really hitting up in 280s. He's hitting 245 now. The bats really got to pick it up.
Yeah.
The pitching's there, like I said, but, I mean, I'm fairly disappointed so far.
Johnny took the words right out of my mouth. Sal Nunziata's got to play a lot better. It's his senior season. He's got to, when the 2 men on, he's got to make something out of it. And like Johnny's also said, the pitching's been there. And it was shaky coming into this season. We didn't know if we would have the pitchers. Right. McCarthy's been doing a phenomenal job, but when he has a good outing, you can't. If you go 0 runs, what's that outing?
The bats aren't there to back up the great pitching,
Absolutely.
and that's in baseball. You always got to back up your pitching, especially if you have a guy throwing, earning 1 run through 7 innings. Your bats got to, they got to have the pitchers back. At least score 3 runs. If we can't even score a run when our pitcher lets up 1 run, it's very disappointing. And we're not a big power hitting team per se. We're a small ball team. We're a fast team. But be a presence on the bases. Make the other team make an error. Force them to make an error. I just haven't been seeing that so far this year. That's why.
Well, like you said earlier, Johnny, they take on Creighton this weekend, who's currently in first place in the Big East. So this is a good opportunity. Seton Hall, they're not far behind. Only a game or 2 out of the standings there to maybe move up before the Big East tournament starts up in a couple weeks. So it's going to be a big opportunity for them to really to get things moving. Before it's too late. Close out the show with 2 spring programs that have had very good campaigns, and that's men's and women's golf. Last weekend, men's golf finished 4th in their Big East tournament, so that's definitely a bright spot there for what they've been able to do. LJ Go finished 3rd overall, so that's congratulations to that team, and hope to see bigger and better things from them next year. On the women's side, they are arguably Program of the Year again here at Seton Hall. After winning the Big East championship last year, they win it again this year. They're going back to the NCAAs. It was announced that they will play in Raleigh, North Carolina for the regional round of the NCAA tournament. It starts May 7th through 9th, so it should definitely be interesting to see what Coach Sarah Dole, who won Coach of the Year, Big East Coach of the Year, and Allie Cruz was awarded to the All Big East team. So it's going to be interesting to see how Allie Cruz, Aaron McClure, and Coach Dole can lead this team to maybe something magical in the NCAA tournament, huh?
Some positives coming out of the spring semester. But good for the golf team. They really, a couple of years ago we mentioned on the show last week that the program was nothing, and losing track, a lot was expected out of the golf team, and to see them now, being so successful, especially this year, I mean, great for them.
Yeah, and I mean, this may sound obvious, but golf is one of those sports where it's not easy to play. I mean, you obviously watch professional golf. Tiger Woods, when he was hot, and Phil Mickelson, they have their off days. I mean, no one can be consistent in golf, but this team is showing signs of consistency, so good for them. What a season.
We should definitely note what they're about to do next weekend down in Raleigh. Good luck to the team. Guys, Johnny, I'll start with you. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thought, Alexis Walton out of the women's softball team. She hit her 20th home run of the season. That is the best in program history. But best in program history, Alex Walton, 20 home runs on the year, and the year's not even done yet. So that's the lead in Seton Hall history. So good for her.
And just continuing on with women's softball, this team is facing Georgetown. Last place in the Big East Conference. They got to do the little things right. It's going to be easy, but just one game. You can't mess up. Do the little things right. Don't let the Big East tournament get in your head. Play the way you've been playing, and good for them.
John, Cory, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me this evening. That's all we have for you this week. Tune in next week. We're going to preview the women's golf team as they head down to Raleigh and the very latest in Seton Hall athletics. Have a good night, everyone.